I've had the Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses now for well over a year, and I actually started out with the Wayfarers and then switched to the Skylers. I already have a video about why, so I've linked it in the description. And even though I made a few videos about the Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses, I feel like I've used them enough over this past year and change to give you an even more accurate answer as to whether I'd actually still recommend them. Spoiler alert, I do recommend them, but with a couple of caveats, and they're not for everyone, and you might be one of those people that they're not for. So stick around, because even though they do pretty much live on my face, there are a couple of things that I really wish Meta would listen to and give us that could be deal breakers for you. The best feature about these glasses compared to some other smart glasses is the camera. Now, one of the deal breakers for you with these glasses might be the fact that they only shoot vertically. And whilst this really annoyed me in the beginning because I wanted them to shoot horizontally as well, I actually don't mind it now because I mainly use the camera to shoot content for Instagram stories or reels, so it's kind of perfect because I have no excuse not to post content and show behind the scenes. I think if it was just horizontal, I wouldn't have been posting the stuff that I have been posting, so that's kind of a good thing for me. But it still would be nice to have the option to shoot either horizontally or vertically, or in a 4:3 aspect ratio that was actually high resolution, so that you had the choice to choose between both. They currently shoot at 1440 by 1920, which you could try and crop a horizontal video out of, but the quality is pretty much gonna look pants. I tried it. It's also not centered, so when you're filming, the footage or the action isn't centered, so you kind of have to remember to slightly turn your head a little bit to the right because the camera's on the left, not in the middle, so you just have to kind of compensate for that. The other thing worth noting is that you can shoot videos up to 3 minutes long, and you can actually change this in the menu because originally it was only up to 1 minute. I'd actually suggest that 1 minute is enough in some circumstances, because there have been times where I've hit record and then completely forgotten that I was recording, but I only really needed a short clip. And the longer you film continuously, the quicker it drains your battery. So I went to Fly Plane a couple months ago, I know, pretty cool, bit of a brag, and I had the recording limit set to 3 minutes. And because I kept pressing record and then letting it run, before I got to the end of the flight, which was a 30-minute flight, the battery was completely dead. So I missed the landing, which was a bit of a pain. So you do really have to be mindful of those long takes if you want to make sure that you're going to have enough battery for whatever it is that you're doing. So battery life could actually be a deal breaker for you, and if you're also looking at this because you want it mainly for POV, which it is for, then you might actually want to look at getting like a small action camera, as you're going to get much better battery life and then also have the option to shoot in whichever aspect ratio you want as well. But I think the battery life is the main thing. But obviously you can put the glasses back into the case to charge up, and as long as there is enough juice in the case, the glasses will charge back up in about 1 hour and 15 minutes. Or to go to 50%, it'll take a little over 20 minutes, which isn't horrendous to be honest. And on that note, whilst I am talking about charging, Prism XR, who is also sponsoring this video, reached out and asked whether I wanted to try out their Carina S1 charging stand. So I thought, why not? It's really simple. You just plug it in and snap the glasses onto it and they fit nice and snug. The charging stand is also small and compact. It's made from premium aluminium and it's light as a feather. Well, not actually, but you know what I mean. It's very light. It's also compatible with the Wayfarer, Skyler and Headliner styles, and it gives super fast charging. Of course, you don't need it because you have the glasses case for charging the glasses, but I've actually just found myself taking off my glasses when I get home and putting them straight on the charger, especially if the case is in my bag rather than on my desk. And sure, it's being a bit lazy, but it's also just comes down to convenience for me. But anyway, I've dropped a link in the description so you can pick one up if you are so inclined. And that link also does help out my channel. So if you do choose to buy the charger and you use that link, then I do thank you in advance. And thank you to Prism XR for sponsoring this video. So there are two more reasons why these glasses basically live on my face. And the first one comes down to the speakers. I love listening to music, and even though I have my AirPods on me all the time, there are times when I just don't want them in, or I can't really have them in, but I want to listen to music, and these glasses are perfect. At about 40% volume, no one can really hear anything that you're listening to. But as you start to go between, I'd say 50 to 60%, then they're slightly audible, and you might have people around you kind of just looking around, trying to figure out where the noise is coming from, looking a little bit confused. But then as you go to, let's say, full volume, 100%, then they're definitely audible, and you will most likely have people looking directly at you trying to figure out where the sound is coming from because they can't see anything in your ears. And so the other feature that I really love is the microphone, and this is mainly for phone calls for me. When I've got my hands full or my phone's in my bag, I can answer my calls or I can ask Meta to call someone in my contacts. And so this is really one of those features that is most useful for me on a day-to-day basis. I know I look like a bit of a crazy person at times when I'm just talking to myself, and again, no one can see that I've got anything in my ears because I don't have my AirPods in and I'm just wearing my glasses, but it doesn't bother me. I have had people at times say, sorry, what was that? Because they thought I was talking to them, but I was obviously talking on the phone. And then I've kind of pointed to my glasses and they're kind of like looking confused, but then I think they kind of get it. But phone calls isn't the only reason for the microphone. The other reason is to actually talk to Meta AI.
Hey Meta, how long would it take to drive from Cheltenham all the way up to Edinburgh?
The driving distance from Cheltenham to Edinburgh is around 337 miles. That's about a 5-hour and 41-minute drive in current traffic.
Tell me a joke.
Here's one. Why don't skeletons fight each other? They don't have the guts.
That's so bad.
And I've gone this whole video without really talking about Meta AI, and I feel like that's one of the features that a lot of people get the glasses for, but for me, it was more so to do with having the speakers and the camera. They were the biggest drivers in me getting the glasses in the first place.
Hey, Meta.
I don't feel like I really needed Meta AI, but there are some cool features that I think I will start to get into the habit of adopting on a daily basis, as I do think it could make my life easier. And actually, there was one that's more of a recent-ish update, not like last week, but it was quite recent, and that was adding timers. Now, with my phone, I use timers like a newborn uses nappies. I have such a crap memory when I'm trying to remember something very quick, so I always have a timer to kind of jog my memory. And when I'm out and about and I have my glasses on and I just want to have a little timer to remind me to do something or get something, then it is incredibly useful to just have that audible sound in my ear rather than having it on my phone and then have to fish in my bag for my phone. But I think one of the biggest use cases for Meta AI for a lot of people as well was the fact that you could, and again, this was a feature that was introduced after the glasses had been released, like quite a while after the glasses had been released, and it was the ability to ask Meta what you could see or what it could see. So you could say, hey Meta, tell me what you see, and then it will tell you in front of you, what it sees. And I feel like it was a bit gimmicky at first, but if you're, for example, out and about in a tourist location and you want to know what a specific thing is, then you can ask it. Or if you're standing in front of something, I don't know, like a plant or something, and you want to know what that plant is, then you can ask Meta what it is. But I feel like more so for someone who's visually impaired, then it's a feature that could actually be quite useful on a day-to-day basis.
What's this car in front of me?
The car in front of you is a Nissan Qashqai.
Thanks.
I guess the other good use case for Meta AI is just getting useful information and asking questions rather than having to actually pull out your phone and do a search. So that is, yeah, I'd say that was useful as well.
Hey Meta, will it rain today?
For which city?
London.
In London today, there's 0% chance of rain.
The other thing that it can do, which I think was a more recent update, I can't remember when, but it can translate. So if you're talking to somebody or someone's talking to you, it will translate that audio for you. I have not tried this feature. I probably should because I speak French and I could just talk to myself and then hear it back. I'm going to try that. But yeah, I haven't tried it, so I don't know how well it works, but it's definitely something that I will try. And maybe I'll do a separate video on it. So I've dropped a link in the description to the charging stand by Prism XR, and like I said, if you do want to buy it and you do use that link, I do really appreciate it and thank you in advance for doing that. And again, thanks to Prism XR for sponsoring this video. I'll catch you on the next one.